Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Coaching Call podcast. On this podcast, we'll cover various types of coaching by trainers in sports, martial arts, fitness, and business. We'll discuss each coach's methods to getting the most out of their respective athletes or clients and how they attempt to change the platform in which they coach. Join us on a fun adventure as we discuss unique coaching styles. Coaching is a universal part of how we get others to get something done. Join your host, Rafael, and his guests on this unique journey in coaching.
Hi, I'm Sifu Rafael, and this is the Coaching Call podcast. If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. This episode was made possible by listeners like you. Good morning, Rachael. Thank you so much for being on Coaching Call. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm good. And perhaps to address the accent, it's the afternoon here in the UK. So good afternoon.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, what time is it by you? Because you're in the UK.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, it's a delight to be with you. And can I just say, I am so thoroughly impressed with how you managed to organize and deliver so much in terms of the shows and the work that you do. I'm a big fan.
I appreciate it. Likewise. I'm excited for today's show because I'm going to, not only me, but our audience is going to get to find out about you, the beautiful person that you are, the impact that you're making in the world. I'm beyond thrilled. So let me ask you right away, where were you born and who would you say influenced you before the age of 15?
So I am from Nottingham in England. Yes, that is Robin Hood country. For those of you who remember the Prince of Thieves and Kevin Costner.
Nice.
So I'm born and bred from where I am today. And in terms of who or what influenced me most before the age of 15, like you, I worked from quite a young age. So I started working in my mum's hair and beauty business at the age of 12. And by the time I was 14, I'd said I was bored of sweeping the floor of hair and making everybody teas and coffees. And I was like, Mum, you've got to train me to do something else. And she trained me to be the receptionist. So from the age of 14, I was working regularly in my mum's salon. So at least one night after school each week and at the weekend. So maybe not quite as much as you, actually. I think you might have put more hours in than me.
I did work in my dad's salon too. And I did sweep floors and wash people's head. Right. Yeah. And clean the windows. And I got paid $7. It was on a Saturday. It was just on Saturdays when I went to a salon for a couple of hours. But it was a delight. But you're right. Who wants to sweep floors of hair, people's hair, and then wash their head? I also started washing heads. So but yeah, and then my dad's like, oh, I think I want you to go to salon school and learn how to cut hair. I'm like, nope. That's not happening.
Oh God, the same. And I think what really impacted me, and my mum is obviously a huge impact. We're talking now, this was back in the late 80s and early 90s, and she was ultimately on the board of directors for the franchise of salons that there were across our region, and she was the only woman on that board. So I mean, that's a huge role model. But actually, that wasn't what immediately came to mind. I think in terms of what influenced me most at that age was this absolute love of people, and being on the reception where I was. There was a glass door as people would walk in, and we'd have more than 300 clients a week. So it was a busy salon with 2 telephone lines, and it would just be this vibrant hub of people and things that I was having to orchestrate, whether it was the appointment book, whether it was dealing with clients on the telephone, whether it was dealing with them coming in, their payments, all of that, making sure everyone was looked after all around the salon and things were moving. And I think during that time, couple of things, but I learned to read people, I think, quite well, because I only had a few seconds to be able judge that person coming through the glass door and to be able to assess where their mood was so that I could respond appropriately from behind the reception desk when I was greeting them. And the other thing that I loved about that was just the transformation that you got to witness. People coming in feeling stressed or tired or maybe a bit low, and just having that. Sometimes it's the conversation, sometimes it's actually being looked after, sometimes it is that scalp massage, right? And then them walking out as if they're on air. And I love that, and I think that really cemented for me my love of people, certainly before performance, you know.
You a new idea, a new thought that hairstylists should be transformational artists.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Because they can take somebody whose hair is all messy and then make it look sharp, make it look good, blow it out and visit and whatever it takes, color it, whatever. And one of the things that you just shared with us is that your observation of people and how you were able to read them through body language, facial, all of these things, maybe even the way they spoke when they first came into, the way they spoke when they left, right? So you were able to see that, and some people don't pick that up. So you have this gift, young lady.
Oh, wow, do you know? And I loved what you said about transformational artists. I can always remember picking up the phone one afternoon at the salon, and it being a lady who had cancer and she had treatment and she'd lost all of her hair, and her family had all chipped in to buy her a real hair wig, and the wig didn't suit her. It wasn't cut in the right shape, and she was really petrified about having it cut, of course, because it's not going to grow back. And she was also feeling very apprehensive about being in a salon without any hair and not wanting to be, kind of seen. And I remember speaking to my mum. She was the only person I would wanted to trust with. Like, we had good hairdressers, but my mum I can trust implicitly with something like this. And we opened the salon late, and this lady came in, and we sat her round the back away from all of the windows. And my mum did this beautiful job on this wig. And like you say, it was true artistry at work, and that it transformed that lady's quality of life.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's and I gotta say, your mom, for her to be able to do such a thing is because she saw the woman.
Yeah.
She saw the before and she saw the after. So it's a vision that your mom had. And if you think about the transformation, there has to be a vision.
Gosh.
Right?
It's so true. And I'm in awe of my mum for the visions that she has. She can walk into a house or look at a garden or even just see a plot of land and envisage what it's going to look like or be like. In the last 6 months, she's just taught herself beading. And I'm so sorry I'm not wearing one of her necklaces now to be able to show it off. It's just incredible at what being able to do and teach herself in just a relatively short space of time. She makes clothes, and she will make curtains. She make these curtains. She'll make these curtains. She'll do so many wonderful things. And you're right, it all starts with that vision. And she just has this fabulous ability to be able to see with such possibility about how wonderful things could be.
It sounds like the old saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh, you're too sweet. Oh dear. I'm in a different way. Yes, perhaps in a different way. Yeah, she's good. I still lean on her for some inspiration at times.
Oh, and it makes sense for you to do so, right? Sounds like I need to be inspired by her as well. So your mom was a big influence and still is growing up. Outside of your mom, who would you say a friend, a school, a teacher, a coach, who would you say influenced you outside of your mom?
Mm. I think, like many of us, there's been a number of really key, significant people in my journey along the way. When you first asked that question, my immediate response went to my grandmother.
Mm.
So because my mum was busy working in the salon, she would pick me up from school, and I would holiday with her and my granddad, and spent a lot of time with them. And they are hugely important figures in my life, immensely inspirational to me, the relationship that they had with one another. Well, that they both lived into their 90s, and they would still sit on the sofa, and they would still look at one another, and they would still cuddle. And they, one of the things I can remember just thinking was just gorgeous, not going out for a date night, but just seeing my granddad, who is Scottish, come down in his full kilt, and my nan in her full ball gown, and they're opening a bottle of wine, and they're having dinner on their dining room table, and they're playing cards, and they're dancing in their living room, and they are just, and I'm just like, how cool is that? So true inspirations and people with real grit and determination. My granddad was an orphan from Glasgow. My nan was sent to work as a servant girl at the age of 12 to go and live in another house. She lost her father from coal mining and the associated breathing and health issues with that at a very young age. And and so a lot of grit, a lot of determination, but a lot of love.
A lot of love, determination. Wow. Incredible. That had to be so cool for you to see, to observe their relationship even, right? So talk to me about your schooling. What was that like? Where did you fit in?
Oh, good question. So at primary school, so I don't know, what would you call primary school in the States? Is that like,
I guess elementary?
Yeah, maybe. Yes. So this is, I'm thinking age 7 to 11, that kind of age.
Oh, okay. So that's high school.
Oh, is it? Okay. So I always think of high school as like the next one up in my mind. Anyway, so high school age, then 7 to 11. I sat right in the middle, and it's so funny because if I think
Wait, you said 7 to 11 years old or 7 to 11th grade? Okay, so that's middle school.
Middle school. There we go.
Your age is what? Yeah.
Yes, sorry, age is what I was meaning there. Okay, so and it's funny because the year that I was in, it really felt like it wasn't a big school. It felt like it split into two, and there was literally the guys that we called the gang, who were the like the cool people, if you like, and then there was the nerds, and I sat bang smack in the middle, and I used to enjoy playing with both groups of people. So I had good friends in both camps, essentially. And then when we got to, so this would be now high school, I guess. So age 11 to sort of 16. For me at school then, I had a very close-knit friends. I was sociable with a lot of people. It was a really big school by that time, very different to the previous school I was talking about. But I had a very close group knit of friends, and I am, I still speak almost daily to one of those friends. So yeah,
that's incredible. That's really good. What was would you say a lesson that you learned in high school that you would say still kind of sticks with you today?
Mm. I think the big thing that I pulled on in high school was I moved from a private school to a really large state school.
Mm.
People from all different walks of background. And it comes back to the being able to read people, because a lot of my friends in the middle school were very quick to tell me that I was likely to get bullied and beaten up by going
Oh, wow.
to school. And I suppose it taught me, I feel like at that high school, I learned a lot more about, about life, I suppose, and people. And it absolutely fascinated me. Fortunately, I did not get bullied. There were times when things came close, of course, like we've all probably experienced something like that, but I didn't. But I was always interested. The really good friend I spoke about, she did. And I can remember observing, and there was always this question in my mind: what's driving that behavior? I was always fascinated about what was going on behind or inside the individuals that drove certain behaviors. And I've just always had that curiosity about people. This is interesting, is where I've ended up now.
So let's get into that behavior that you saw in people you were curious about. How did that impact your decisions when you were looking at other people? How did it impact you in your life choices?
Mm. It made me really curious. And I was always, I didn't really realize it at the time because I was, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, 15. But I look back now and I was always asking, like, what's behind that? Why are they doing that? There must be a reason as to why they're behaving in that way. Something's maybe not right within them to see that either aggressive behavior or that outburst, or why would they want to be unkind in that way? So I think it drew out a real kind of curiosity for me. And in later life, as I kind of came out of university and started in my corporate career, that continued. And this fascination then with, because I had to lead people off the bat coming out of university, so being able to understand what was driving somebody else and how to positively impact, motivate, and lead was just absolutely fascinating to me. And of course, it's never a straight line, and you get stuff wrong. And I really loved it. I loved it.
Talk to us about your first job once you came out of the university. What was that like, and what was your role? And you talked about you were already leading people. How were you leading them?
I'm going to say badly initially. Okay, so there is a little story here, which is during the milk round, where all the big companies come to all the universities and they promote themselves. I had really connected with Mars as an organization, and I so wanted to work for them, and I wanted a place on their graduate scheme. And I can remember sitting in my university halls of residence and staring at the computer screen, which was the application form, and thinking, I'm not going to get this. There are thousands of applicants. Why the hell would a company like Mars want somebody like me? I predicted a 2-1 from, it's a good university, but it's not Oxford, it's not Cambridge. And surely they can dictate that they're having first degree students. Why would they want me? And I don't know where it came from at that time, but there was something, and maybe it was coming back to my mum and my mum's business, but Mars is a family-owned company. And for some reason, I put myself into Mr. Mars's shoes. And all of a sudden, I was asking myself this question, right? Like, well, if I was Mr. Mars, would I want me to work for like, would I want me on the team? And of course, my answer was yes. I would want to be on there. And as soon as that belief changed, my performance and the way I showed up completely changed. I filled out that application form that night. I then got through rigorous rounds upon rounds upon rounds of assessment centers and interviews and all sorts. And I got right to the very end of the process. And right at the very end of the process, they said, Rachel, we'd love to offer you a job, not on the graduate recruitment program, but join us in our sales team. And I was like, what? like what? Sales? I've never thought about doing sales. That's not me. Surely not. And I'd fallen in love with the company so much that I decided I was going to take this job and I was going to do it anyway. And I was going to make my own graduate recruitment. I was going to make my own graduate program by choosing my own roles as I went around. So the long and short of this was I started in a sales role selling vending machines to travel, whether train stations or colleges and things like this. And I absolutely sucked at it. And within the first, it does have a happy ending, but within the first few months, I was on a performance improvement plan.
Wow, look at that.
I will pause there for a minute. There is a happy ending to that story. Oh dear. So that's what I did.
But how did you make that happen, though?
Oh gosh, the happy ending.
Yeah, how did you make that happy ending come about?
Well, the first thing was I had some phenomenal help, and I had a really good line manager, and that line manager asked me, what can I do to help? And I was prepared for that question. And I said to him, look, would you please come and spend 1 day a week working with me out in calls where you do a call, then I do a call, and we do feedback and I learn, and you just hold my hand a bit as we go along the way. And he committed to do that. He had to travel a long way to come to my patch and come and work with me. And shout out to James Pearson. And he did that. And as a consequence, I started hitting my targets. I started doing really well. And I ultimately became the head of the sales division for the whole of the UK and Ireland for Uncle Ben's and Domio.
Wow. We say shout out to Mr. Pearson, right? But in reality, it took courage for you to even ask, right? But it took commitment on his part to see that you would be successful, because that would make him look good as well. But he could have failed if you failed, right? Yeah. So both of you, congratulations to both of you to having that synergy, if you will, to be able to work together like that, and for you to be able to excel because you learned from somebody. He became your mentor, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was one of those gifts. And you're right, having those kind of conversations, they can feel really difficult. And I think sometimes we have to lay it on the table. I was frightened. I was scared. I felt like I was failing. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm not sure that I had the belief at that time when I was talking to him. But I knew I wanted to put my best foot forward, and I knew I could do that with his help.
So, Rachel, are you married?
I am.
So let me ask you a question. Who started the dating? Who asked who out?
Oh, he asked me, but it was if he was here, he'd say it was a long it was there was a lot of groundwork. I think that's how he would say.
But if you think about it, right, it takes courage to even ask somebody to go on a date. It takes courage to continue as long as it makes sense, and obviously it paid off because now you're happily married to this man. Um, but it was that first initial, oh my gosh, maybe he had butterflies, right? Maybe his stomach was in knots, but he did it. And that right there is, if we don't have the courage to ask, we don't know. And what's the worst you could have said to him?
Yeah.
No,
No.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
But and that's what people fall flat.
Mm.
What's
Yeah,
the worst that could happen?
I
That's
know.
the question we need to ask ourselves. So when we're looking to go for something, when we're looking to advance ourselves, we just need to ask. And so what? What's the worst? A no?
I know. And it
I'd
may
rather get a no.
oh gosh, yeah. And it may be so in a slightly different context, but the same principle as well. How much joy do we get from being able to help others? And I think sometimes, particularly with the leaders that I work with, they sometimes forget that it's actually by asking for help in something in an appropriate way, an appropriate context, they are gifting their team or their peers or others around them the opportunity to feel good by being able to help them, you know.
Oh, without a doubt. Every time that we can help another person, the reward is so great.
Mm.
Because when we help someone else, we're helping ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. That altruism feels good, and it's part of our evolutionary biology and makeup. And so yeah, let's not and it's been hard for me in business, because if I bring us right up to kind of much more present day, one of the things that I've been working on has been being okay with just saying I would love to do this. And so for example, Rolls-Royce is a company that is based not very far from where I live here in the UK, and it's an organization that I would love to explore working with. And one of my dad friends, kind of through school, works there. And last year I said to him, do you know, I would really love to learn more about your work and what you do and potentially help support you and the team there. And he's like, oh, come in, let me show you around, let me, and I had this amazing tour of all these, the engines and so on, and talking about that collaboration. But it just took that courage to be able to say, hey, I'd love to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to feel like that's sleazy in any way, or I don't know, just, and maybe because I'm British, I find
But you wouldn't know if you didn't ask.
No, exactly that.
And you wouldn't have gone if you didn't accept the invitation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we have invitations that we don't accept. Mm-hmm. And the reason we don't accept them is because we don't know. Mm-hmm. We don't have that belief that something great can come from it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we'll say no to something when we should have said yes. Right? So many times. I want to share a video with you on an event that I'm having here in the U.S. It's in Tampa, but we're also coming towards you, and we're coming into Ireland, which I'd love for you to be part of it, right? I know we spoke about it, but take a look at the one for Tampa. Here we go.
The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event, it's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds, a movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, Jose Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC experience. Mastermind, light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC experience, mastermind, where purpose is found.
Woo! I get moving every time I hear it.
That is such a good soundtrack. Oh my gosh. And it looks incredible. Wow. What an event. What a lineup.
It's going to be incredible. And we're coming to Ireland, so we need you there as well. We're going to put you on the video, everything. It's going to be phenomenal.
Oh, well, I just, from a point of view of masterminds, I have been part of many masterminds over the years. And just that kind of environment just skyrocketed my performance, my knowledge, my belief. It's almost like, well, it's not almost like, it can transform who you are and catapult that to another level very, very quickly. So how exciting.
It is. So Rachel, you just said something very important, and it's talking about mastermind, right? We cannot have a mastermind by one person, right? We need more. So it's that collective collaboration, collective thought process that truly brings people into the forefront of creating something that's never been created, doing things that maybe seemed impossible. Talk to us about that for you, because you're such a sharp and beautiful person, and you're doing so incredible with all that you're doing. You're impacting, I'm not going to say the people around you, but you're impacting the world in all you're doing. So I want to know more. So tell me more.
Oh, goodness. More about the transformation, or about the
everything about you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, where to start? I think one of the things I will say about the transformation is, for me, I feel like my soul's contract is to be ever evolving, and that journey of transformation, if you like, that it's ever evolving, and there's always another version of me, like, kind of coming to fruition. And sometimes it can feel like you're working particularly from a personal development perspective on something, and it's almost like you kind of get to where you want to get to, and as you know as well, there's then another level, there's something else, and I love that journey, and as much as it can really scare me sometimes, and I find that so exhilarating, so ever evolving, always, transforming, always that opportunity to become the next best version of you, for sure. And I suppose, just in terms of a time where there was a deeply transformational time for me, was when I can remember the moment I was in my glass-fronted office. I was preparing to go into the boardroom, and instead of walking out of my office that day, I found myself lying on the floor staring up at the ceiling tiles. I'd collapsed. I couldn't breathe. And I mean, that was an incredibly scary, frightening moment for me. I later realized what I'd experienced was a panic attack, and everything that I had been doing running up to in the months and years, to be honest, running up to that, had left me depleted, and I felt incredibly guilty. I'd neglected my relationship. He wasn't my husband at the time. In fact, we delayed our wedding twice just because I didn't have time to get married because of commitments, which is shocking, absolutely shocking when I hear myself say that now. But at the time, it just, well, what else could I do? And eventually I obviously got myself up off the floor, and things did change. But that was a huge wake-up call for me. And I think many of us may have experienced, not necessarily that, but different choice points in our lives where things happen to us, and we do have a choice as to how we respond to that. The biggest lesson for me in that was that I had just been disrespecting my biology for such a long time. And by that point, I understood the positive psychology, and I was constantly reframing my stress, my anxiety, and everything else to just carry on. And that was a really, and I know this is well up your street as well. It's like the mind and the body and the spirit, these are not separate things. And neglect one at your peril. So I know that's so up your street. Oh yeah. So
it is that had to be super scary.
Oh gosh.
For you to wake up looking up at the ceiling.
Yeah.
You realize it was a panic attack. Do you remember how you got to the floor?
I just collapsed. I couldn't breathe. I didn't know what was happening to me at the time.
So scary.
Super scary. And I was possibly very lucky. I know people that have ended up with all sorts of longer term issues from burnout and exhaustion. So
yeah, it is something that's real. A lot of people don't realize it, how real it is when you're misaligned.
Yes.
Right. How did you realign?
There were some practical things that I needed to do, which took, I don't know if I can even say it took courage, actually. I dealt with a lot of guilt and shame at the time. I felt guilty because I felt like the organization and my team were counting on me. I realized after I'd collapsed that it couldn't go on and something needed to change. So very practically, I spoke to my director and I said, we got to make a change here. And ultimately, it wasn't an immediate change, but over time, what we did was we restructured my team and that part of the organization. And instead of heading up that department, I ended up going back into that team. And just in terms of what that meant from a very visual perspective that everyone around the company could see, I went from having my own glass-fronted office to sitting out in the open plan office and having a role where I was, that I was doing that I had once head up that team to do. And that was, and I suppose it was that real realization you've got to put your health first, because if you don't, then you can't do anything else. But I mean, it's silly. We all know that. Cognitively, we do. But for some reason, I had to, push myself to that length to properly learn that lesson.
I want to share a video with you, another video, and it's going to speak on exactly what you're talking about and why I decided to create a program to help so many people. Just take a look.
You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind-Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today.
Oh, I'm so aware of your mind-body method, and I just massively in support of it. Hugely so.
Appreciate it. One of the things that a lot of people, one of the pillars I didn't talk about on that video is sleep. Right? Because sleep is so super important. That's the 8th pillar. And I do the video, I do 7, but we talk a lot about sleep. How do you go to sleep with intentions, right? To have a good night's sleep, to make sure that you have no outside sources bombarding you, making sure that you turn your phone off, that you don't have in the middle. So on my phone, right, it is a smartphone, so I try to use it smartly. So I put do not disturb, but only certain people can come through if it's an emergency, right? Nobody else can reach me. Nobody else can do anything. But when I'm sleeping, it is only certain people, like my kids, my sister, people like that, right? Who can only come through if it's needed, but they know I'm sleeping, so they don't bother me. But a lot of times prior to me doing that, I would get calls at all sorts of hours. 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 1 in the morning, 5 in the morning. Because I'm up so early, I'm up around 4:30 in the morning. Sometimes it's 3:30. I turn that off because then I have people texting me and I can respond and so forth. But even then, I don't put it on right away. I wait a good 30, 45 minutes because I'm doing my thing, right? Before I allow anybody else to come in and not necessarily disturb, but tell me about their issues or their dilemmas or what they're going through. Because I do have clients all over the world, right? So it makes a difference that sometimes they have to understand, like, hey, I'm not going to answer you. That doesn't mean I don't love you or I don't care.
Yeah.
But we need to facilitate our health first. We need to come first.
And it's not a fixed thing. It can be a sliding thing, I think. But when we're okay, when the people that we are closest to, our nearest and dearest, are okay, we can show up and report for duty to make the positive difference in the world for our organizations, for our communities, and for the wider world. But when we're not okay, or our family's not okay, like it is this ever kind of shifting thing. And there are times, I think, when being able to integrate that restoration and recovery into with the habits, the routines, the rituals that we have, like the sleep, like the digital detoxing, like all of that, is such an important part. and we have to, and it's harder. I think it's harder these days to do, because of the many things that, you know, that can pull and distract us. So being even more intentional than perhaps we have ever been, and being even more protective of that time is so important.
If somebody is carrying around $10,000 in their pocket, and somebody reaches for their pocket, they're going to protect their pocket. Right? They're going to go, oh no, don't go into that pocket. I got all my money. I got $10,000 in it. But then we allow people to come and kidnap us and take away our time and steal our time. So what's more valuable, money or time?
Yeah.
And you know what it is, right?
There's always more money where that came from. You know, so long as we've got that creativity, you know, there's always more of that. The time is something we can't make more of. It's our most precious resource. You know that.
You just said creativity. And the first thought that came to my mind was your mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you said creativity, because in a month, she's now making all these necklaces and all this jewelry and all this stuff. And you said she sews clothes and all. And such a beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing your mom with us, right? And like I said earlier, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Your creativity may not be what her creativity is, but it's different. It's unique to you. Just like mine is unique from my parents or anybody else. We all have unique creativity, and it's what we do with it that we can impact the world.
Absolutely. And I believe that the way that we show up, I'm going to say as leaders, because I think we all have that capacity, whether we're leading our families, whether we're in our community, but the way we show up, the energy that I know this is so what you would talk about too, but the energy, the presence that we bring makes a huge difference. And I can't help but feel that we need to show up as the world, as the leaders the world needs right now. How can we keep our heads high, our hearts open, even when things are hard, especially when things are hard? And we only do that when we're able to look after ourselves first. And then we have the capacity to show up and be present, and just our energy can shift so much in such a positive way. And you know, so for me, doing the work with leaders who are maybe doing hard and difficult and challenging things, and being able to keep that capacity to be kind, to be human, and to be creative is you know, that's what it's about, I think.
I love it. You talked about impacting the world. I believe that every one of us lives in our own world. You live in yours, I live in mine, your husband lives in his, but we have to take care of our world first.
Yes.
Right? So we have to make sure it's still growing, it's fruitful, it's beautiful, but then we need to connect with everybody else's world. And so the bigger picture, the bigger world is the one that we can make an impact, but we can only do that if we take care of our world, our soul, our heart, our mind, our body. That's our world, right? but then we can start to share that with others and help them, even enlighten them a little bit. Maybe somebody's going through a dark time, a sad time. So we need to shine our light, because we fixed our light, and whatever problems we had, we fixed them, or someone helped us. So we need to pass it forward, right? You went through this time where you were looking up at the ceiling. That would not what you wanted to do, but it happened. So the topic of today's conversation was you. You're my guest. You're the topic. But also one of the things that I put in the heading for the show was redefining high performance. How do you help redefine your own high performance?
For me, high performance is also a strategy of peace and connection. And I say connection with self as well as with others in its all-encompassing sense. And that when we can access that from within, and we'll only do that by paying attention to things that we've already been talking about, the rest, the recovery, the restoration, and prioritizing those things. That's where performance becomes, and high performance becomes, sustainable.
So thank you for sharing that. How do we help someone else elevate their performance so they become from a regular performer to a higher performer? How do we help somebody elevate themselves so they can redefine their performance to become a high performer?
I think that we should start with the basics, the fundamental basics.
The foundation, right?
The foundation. So you have the pillars. I would talk about 5 basic areas. I'm sure these are very, very similar to your pillars. So maybe we just share notes on this very quickly. Sleep, hydration, nutrition, movement, daylight, nature, social, being with people that you love and care about and who love and care about you. Score yourself. So before we do, what if I missed there in terms of your pillars? Let's get them all out. Spiritual, yes?
Yeah, spiritual. So you talked about nutrition, hydration, right? Because listen, this is not just, by the way, this is a stein, right?
Yes.
But cheers. Yours is a bottle. This is a stein. Now, what could I put in the stein? What usually goes in the stein?
Beer. Yeah.
But I chose water instead of beer, right? And in my water, this water has 2 things in it, right? And this water went through a process. I boiled it.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I put 2 things in it. I put Himalayan pink salt.
Lovely.
And apple cider vinegar.
Lovely. Oh, love it.
So that it helps to nurture. So nutrition is part of it, but hydration and the way you hydrate is also important. And so everything you talked about is exactly dead on. The sleep, the family, your attitude, the way you move around the day. So you talked about movement. Movement is key ingredient to your high performance, because there are a lot of people in the world right now, and I'm sending prayers to all of them, who may have lost the ability to move. And it could also be because of their actions that they took earlier on in their life. They didn't take care of their health. There are people who are way overweight, people who could barely walk. I know a person who refused to listen and is now in a wheelchair because they gained too much weight and they can't walk. and they won't listen, and they won't do anything because they don't understand the fundamentals that movement is the first and most important thing that we have to do every single day. So yes, we are aligned very much.
And coming back to what I think might be useful is for anyone listening in is give yourself a score, just a score 1 to 5 in each of those areas, in each of Rafael's pillars, where 1 is actually I'm really poor in this area, and 5 is I'm on it and I'm really good in this area. And notice where your scores are 3 or less, or even just where you know that I think people intuitively know the areas that they could go to. And I would just encourage people to say, what's just one small thing that you could tweak or change or do that would improve that area? And that's the basics, isn't it? That's the basic stuff. So maybe it's hydration for you. True hydration. Maybe it's eating following your nutritional protocol for at least 1 meal a day.
Yeah.
Maybe it's making sure that you're consistent in the time that you go to bed and that you're waking up as much as your lifestyle will allow,
right,
to help you get better sleep hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that you could do, but I really do believe that people intuitively know themselves where they could really help themselves on those basics. And I would encourage you to let this conversation that we've had today be that invitation to do that thing. Don't think about it, just do it.
Yeah, I've had fitness trainers tell me that they know what to do. They don't need my program. But I'm looking at them and they're unhealthy. And I'm like, they don't need my program. You don't need my program. And they're right. They don't need my program. They need something in them. It doesn't have to be Sifu's mind body. It could be their name could be Jake, their name could be Mary, it could be their mind body. But they need to be honest with themselves, because I've had a lot of trainers say, oh, I don't need your program. I'm a fitness trainer. I've done this. I bodybuilt. I did that. But meanwhile, they're eating badly. Their insides don't reflect their outsides. Right? So we need to take care of us. Right? You don't need my program. Nobody needs my program. They just need to do the right thing for themselves. And so many people don't know how to do the right thing. One of the things that I also teach is fasting, how to fast, how to go about it. It's not about, oh, I'm going to be starving. No, that's the wrong idea. So people don't understand people don't know what they don't know until they're willing to learn. And so many people are not willing to learn or to change because what's been working worked before. It's not working now. So if it's working now, then you're good. But if it's not, if your health is not there, if you can't go up a flight of stairs and you're out of breath, maybe we need to look at it. You don't need my program, but you need something. And my program is not about diet. It's about lifestyle.
Yeah. And this is where having support and also a community of other people is such a key part to success and to being able to follow through on those changes. I mean, so I will work with clients one-on-one and in small group situations to look at identity and belief, thought, feeling, emotion change that will drive the behaviors and the actions that get us different results. So yes, we can help at that level, but that community and that support is also really key. You know, they've done studies where, they look at, you must know this from with your martial arts kind of, yeah. So that when we're in movement and we're doing it in synchronization, they did this with rowers, I think, at Oxford University, and they studied the rowers going all different times, going opposite times rowing, and then rowing together, and the strength and the performance from going together. It's like we would probably make it so much better. So if you are in a community where you're going at this together, it will amplify your momentum and your results. So an important thing to think about, I think.
I got to tell you, I love the fact that you took the time today. You invested in this time with me to share with us, you. So I am so grateful to you for doing that, for sharing you. And thank you for that. Before we go, I would love to have everybody go to your website, right? elevar.co.uk, and tell us a little bit about, Rachel, what they can expect when they go to your website.
Well, so it's under construction at the moment.
Okay. So that's fine. So, but still,
but no, when they go there, they will be able to find out more about me. They'll be able to watch some short videos where I talk about the work that I do, and essentially, if anything in this conversation has resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a message. You'll have details to my email address that will come through directly to me. So anyone, just I'd love to hear from you. I love connecting, as you probably can tell, with others. So please do drop me a line.
Yeah, absolutely. Go listen. Her website is under construction. That doesn't mean that you can't bookmark it and go in and see when it's fully up, because when it's up, it's going to be incredible. So thank you for sharing that with us. Do me a favor, everybody. You need to connect, and she said it. She likes connecting with people. That means conversations. You need to have a conversation with Rachel. Every time you and I have spoken, I've been blessed every single time. So today I've been blessed. Thank you. Make sure you connect with her. Make sure that you share this episode with somebody that needs to hear the messages that came through this conversation that we had, because it may, you think, oh, it's just a conversation, but it may impact somebody who needs to make a change in their life, because transformation is not a once and done. Transformation is every day. Every day I wake up and I go, who am I today? Who do I want to be? And when I go to sleep at night, I ask myself, first, I'm grateful for the day, but then I say, who do I want to be tomorrow? How do I show up? So connect, share, and be present. Thank you. Don't go away, young lady. We're going to say goodbye to everybody, and we will see everybody real soon. Take care. God bless.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.